Looks like I'm living rent-free in your heads again, huh? I mean, if you're gonna spend your days obsessing over me, you might as well start calling me something respectable. Maybe Daddy Shizzy, or better yet, Papa Nut. Who's the grown-up here? Alright, it's me. Let's go. Call me Daddy. Yeah, that's who I am. Running your mind's like a master plan. Papa Nut, Shizzy Daddy. Take your pick. I'm rolling in your thoughts while you still act sick. Call me Daddy. It's what you mean. Why you chase the crooks and I take the lead? Living rent-free. That's my name. Go ahead, say it. Put some respect on the name. Man, I'm too old. Well, here's a surprise. I'm the one with the brains while you're stuck with the lies. You act like you're experts, but here's the reality. I'm the one controlling your mental reality. So while you're out there trying to throw shade, I'm sipping coffee and you're feeling betrayed. You're mad, I got the spotlight, now it's my time. So why not call me Daddy or Papa with a rhyme? I'm the landlord and you're just the tenants, stuck in your headspace with no end to sight or repentance. Call me Daddy, you know it's true. You'd be lost without me, stuck in the glue. Call me Daddy, I'm holding your mind while you're scrambling, trying to find what's behind. Papa Nut, Shizzy Daddy, don't you see? You're living in my world now, I'm the VIP. Call me Daddy, just let it be. While you're trying to figure out your own identity. Oh, I see you're confused, trying to get it right. Spinning your wheels while I'm out of sight. You think you've got it figured, but you got it all wrong. I've been running your minds all along. But sure, keep pretending you don't care. Keep saying you're done, but I'm still in the air. You got no choice but to bow to my name. Daddy Shizzy is here to own the game. You say you don't watch, but you're obsessed. Every word I say puts you to the test. Call me Daddy, Papa Nut, you know you should. Because I've been living rent-free, and you know it feels good. Shizzy Daddy, all in your headspace, and there's no escape. Good luck with that.
Oh, good evening, everybody. I'm telling you, tonight is going to be one of those nights that you're going to probably want to watch again and again. I've got so much, and I'm going to be going so fast. I don't know if I can keep it all in check. And we will put on our tinfoil hats later, just so you guys know the tinfoil hat will be coming on. I don't actually have a tinfoil hat. All I have is a star-spangled helmet. But I got some conspiracy for you tonight. Oh my God. Good evening, Vicky. Good to see you. Happy Hippie Witch. Good to see Janice MB. Lisa Harley. How you doing? Missy Nolster. I like that. That's pretty cool. Vicky, how you doing? Forever Not Me. Hey y'all. How you doing? Elfie and everybody. Max Lab. Oh my God. Randy's documents today are blowing the ecosystem up big time. I bet they are. I bet they're losing their shit. Well, let's let them lose their shit and let's get into it because, like I said, I've got 2 hours and the amount of stuff that I'm going to show tonight. Oh, see, this is what happens whenever you give me too much time on my hands. I've come up with all kinds of like shit. So, what happened today? All right, so Randy, Jeremy's attorney in this case, filed in Fed 2. So you remember we have Fed 1, Fed 2, Fed 2. He filed a motion for substitute service by process by email. Now comes Elephant Shoe Plaintiff by and through undersigned counsel pursuant to Rule 4E of Federal Rules of Civil Procedure and hereby respectfully moves this court to authorize substitute of service of process by email upon David Michael touching his dork. Hereinafter Dr. Torkendork, who was evading service of process. In support of this motion, plaintiff states as follows. Plaintiff filed the initial complaint naming Torkendork in this action on February 23rd, 2025. Initial complaint, February 2025. Plaintiff made a diligent, repeated attempts to serve Torkendork with a summons and initial complaint with 4 initial attempts. 4 being made at a location known to belong to Torkendork by State Process Services, Inc. in Wawa, Wisconsin, let's just put it that way. At each attempt, there was no answer despite process server cards being left. See Exhibit 1. After that, private investigative services were engaged in this matter, costing more money. And 3 other locations were located for Torkendork. On his YouTube channel and on Lee's YouTube channel just yesterday can be seen taunting Hales that he has not been served, even though Torkendork also has stated that he wants to be part of this litigation on his own YouTube channel. Yes, he did this. Your dog is 6 pounds and still uses pads. That's awesome. So it's just stupid. That is just stupid. In late June of 2025, a resident at a location known to belong to Torkendork was told the process server that Torkendork does not live there, then quickly closed the door. Completed by Vincent Samarato. It's 6/26/25, 3:24 p.m. I received within the process on June 25th, 2025, and that after due diligent efforts, I have been unable to serve said person the following itemization of the dates and times of attempts and details and efforts required to effect service. Serve in Torkendork attempted at this location on 6/25/342. Results: does not live here. Per tenant, close the door before he would give name. See Exhibit 2, which we're going to get to the exhibits. On August 12th, Torkendork posted a video on his own YouTube channel demonstrating the full awareness of this pending litigation by commenting on and showing to viewers document number 96, the one where he's being served. Well, and on August 15th, 2025, Torkendork, upon being advised that a request to waive service is being sent to him, posted a video on his own YouTube channel stating, plaintiff just wants to serve Dave with court papers, but here's where the law is clear. Refusing to waive service is not evading service. Under Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 4D, a defendant has the right to decline a waiver and require formal service. There's no penalty for exercising the right beyond possibly paying the cost of service. That's it. Well, between August 13th, 2025 and September 8th, 2025, 3 additional attempts were made to serve Torkendork, with each attempt failing and resulting in no answer. The process server assigned by the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office concluded subject is avoiding per webcast. So, twerk on dork? Yeah, probably. We might just be doing that, maybe not. See Exhibit 3. So this comes from the sheriff saying subject is avoiding per webcast. So they're actually watching the webcast and saying that if he's sitting there bragging about evading service, there it is. Due to the above, plaintiff has a reason to believe that Torkendork is deliberately evading service of process. Plaintiff has knowledge that Torkendork regularly uses the email address. When he has his email address, I block these things out for business and personal communication. Subscribe, blah, blah, blah. So email recently sent to the present by co-defendant, Mr. Bonebreak Jr., a copy being attached to here is Exhibit 4, request for a writ waiver of service pursuant to Federal Rules of Civil Procedure were emailed and sent via USPS priority mail to Torkendork. The email was sent to that email address and was not rejected. Torkendork was thus advised in advance via this email of what was being sent to him. The result was that the USPS mail was returned to plaintiff's attorney marked refused. See Exhibit 6. Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 4E1 permits service of process on an individual by following state law for serving a summons in an action brought in courts of general jurisdiction in the state where the district court is located or where service is made. Both Florida and Wisconsin laws permit substitute service when a defendant is evading service of process. Both the statutes in Florida and Wisconsin have those. Federal courts have the authority to order alternative means of service that are reasonably calculated to provide notice to the defendant. Courts have consistently upheld the email service as meeting due process requirements when it's demonstrated that the method is likely to reach the defendant. For example, in Global and blah, 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 the court authorized email service after determining that it was a reliable means of delivering the complaint and summons, and that it was reasonably calculated to give the defendant notice and an opportunity to respond. The court emphasized that email service must be reasonably calculated to appraise the defendant of the action and afford an opportunity to present objections, provided it is not prohibited by international agreement and also is authorized by the court. That's why they're asking for this, so they can get permission from the court to serve him that way. Service by email satisfies constitutional due process requirements, especially whenever he's on stream saying, "I've been served. I'm not accepting service," or is reading the documents because he knows that the documents are out there. He knows that he's in a lawsuit, and that means he's evading it because it's reasonably calculated under the above circumstances to apprise the defendant of the pendency of the action and afford an opportunity to present objections. Service by email is particularly appropriate because in this case, Torque and Dork regularly uses the email address. Previous communications with him at this email address have been successful, and 3, Twerking on a Dork can demonstrate awareness of this pending litigation by his own videos broadcasted on his YouTube channel, and traditional methods of service have been unsuccessful due to his evasion. Wherefore, plaintiff respectfully requests that this court grant this motion for substitute service by process by email, authorize plaintiff to serve the summons complaint, all subsequent pleadings and papers upon him at that email address, deem such service complete upon plaintiff's filing of proof that email was sent and not returned as undeliverable, and grant other such further relief as this court deems just and proper. Certificate of compliance that he filed with the court, gave the service list to all the people that it was sent out to. Okay. That's where it starts. Then you also have to understand that Mr. Eugene Moy, that was a resident of Wisconsin, not a party to the legal action, which the affidavit states, further swears I was not able to serve the defendant on the party at the attempts and activity below. Torque and Dork on 3/7, 3/10, 3/14, 3/18. Final results. That the final result was 3/18/2025. And then you also have this one here where he said, "Hey, this is what we did right here from Randy Shockett right here. Summary of service not served. I received the within process." Basically, he's talking about the process, the service right here on June 25th, and that after due and diligent effort, I have been unable to serve said person the following itemization of the dates and times, attempts and details and efforts to require and effect service attempt at that address on 6/25, 3/42. Resident doesn't live there per tenant, closed door before he would give name. And then they did their skip tracing basically to make sure that they had the right location. And then also, and I've blocked these out, so it's basically the same thing, except another one that left it at a different location and shows the dates that it did it. Subject is avoiding per webcast, which means that Rob Robinson looked at this and said, looks like he is evading according to his webcast. He knows that we're there and he's evading us on purpose. But of course, then you get this kind of crap that comes in from Ray Bonecrusher. The subject is, hey, ignoramus. And I've blocked out the names because I didn't think it would be appropriate to have all of the emails in there. But he says this to Jeremy. Not only does he say, hey, ignoramus, he says, Jeremy, he agrees with this statement right here. Jeremy, you are pathological. Imagine. Ray's attaching himself to these kinds of things, but also within these documents here, you have milk mom or something like that. Best, I think that's something like that. Yeah, have him in there. Okay. Then, of course, you've got this one here that is, while he's receiving emails through this way and responding to emails on that. Right here, he says, time sensitive, United States District Court, Northern District, Florida. Dave, please see attached, which is also being sent to you via United States first class mail with priority service. And that doesn't end the stuff because it even gets more. You haven't heard the shit song? Anybody ready? I bet they're always ready. They're always ready for that. Then it comes to this. Right here, complaint. Oh, that's a different one right there. So sorry, I skipped over something. Holy cow, maybe not. Give me a second. Let me pull that up. Give me just a second. Talk on it. Okay. Maybe not. You are a hero among all heroes. If you could, I can. And I will. I've got to calm down because this is just unbelievably awesome. Here he comes.
Welcome to the shit show. Every single day, a new flavor of fuckery. Cause everybody sucks, you see, and they're dumber than a bag of rocks. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then 4 more days of increasingly stupid, ridiculous, ignorant, boulder, dash, poppycock, bollocks, and fuckery. We'll it all over again.
Oh, that's my theme song this summer. We can take you the next one. You need the helm. It's just you made a boo-boo. Yeah, I do make quite a bit of those. I need to pull up something because there was a document that I was looking at and I thought I had it up here, but apparently I don't because I suck. I suck so bad. Let me give me just a second. Let me pull this up because there was not only that, there was also another document. I want to make sure I have the right one here that I completely missed out on. And I believe it is, yes, it is this one right here. Which I'm sure just sent these folks off. And I did have it pulled up earlier, but I need to pull it up again because this is something that I missed out on, right? Yeah, this particular document. Let me bring it up so you possibly can see. This is really important here. Jeremy B. Hales versus Richard Licking something. It appears that left it with his stepmother, and left the copy at the place of her residence. Yeah. Gotta love that. Let me get that up right here. Left it at the residence in Ponte Vedra, and it says right here at the very bottom, page 2. Substitute service was accomplished, delivering a true copy of the summons together with a copy of the initial pleadings as stated above at the address in Jacksonville, Florida. The defendant, Mr. Dick Luthman, whatever, has confirmed he has received these court documents the very next day by posting it online on a YouTube video called Unknown by Dick and Volpe. End of statement. Imagine Volmit and Paint Chip did a stream talking about it and agrees that he received these court documents. So he has been served. And it looks like if Jeremy gets it, Jeremy gets his request in from the court, which the kind of shenanigans that he's been playing, it doesn't matter. They got service. That's all that matters. That's all that matters, that they received service. I remember that Paint Chip tried to say they served his dad. It doesn't matter. He received those documents were received on a place that he is known to be in. And then he's also got on the very next day and started bragging about it and posting about it and talking about it. That's it. The judge, most likely, unless they can come up with an absolutely good reason, which I doubt they're going to be able to. Not yet, Max. Not yet, because here's the thing. It would require the judge to agree on touching dorks to be actually served. The judge has to agree that would be suitable service. That's all that has to happen in that. So if the judge rules and says, hey, most definitely he's been served, then they can move on from there. Until then, it's sort of up in the air, if that makes sense. Oh boy, what an idiot. Yeah, they got on and bragging about it. Oh, I love your avatar, Tracy. That's awesome. Yeah. They got on bragging about it, thinking they were smarter than the next. All right, well, there you go. And now they're ranting and raving about it, from what I understand. I don't care, because I got so many much bigger fish to fry tonight. Okay, let's see if we can get all of this in. Okay, so we've got this right here. This is a new lawsuit, and I said I was going to talk about this a little bit tonight. I can dig into it a little bit more. This is only 8 pages. Only 8 pages. God, Judge, please let the let's get it. Oh, PJ was really bragging, not getting served about that. His dad got served instead at the same address he lives at in their basement. At the time. What you like to know? Stupa is one of those armchair warriors. You claim, try that with me, and some outrageous claim that require him leaving their mother's basement. Yeah, this is the thing. These guys are armchair warriors. They got themselves into a big ass bind, and instead of just going, let's move forward, let's go. Oh yeah, they just wanted to evade service and then brag about it. It's like, come catch me if you can. And then whenever they say, well, we got you. And then you go, no, you didn't get me. You're hurting my feelings. Jeremy Hales and George collectively complaining of the defendant, Daniel Rex Owen, hereinafter Owen State, Jeremy Hales, resident, Summit County, Ohio, goes into all of this stuff about what the Hales, what it is. He's given interest in what the party is, and then talks about George, that she's a resident, Summit County, Ohio, co-hosts a YouTube channel with the Hales. And then it goes into Daniel Rex Owen as a state official employed by the state of Florida, is being sued in his individual capacity. Now, here's where Shockett and Jeremy can run into problems. And I think that they've sort of surpassed it according to what they've brought in, is basically saying, hey, most county officials have a little bit of immunity from these kinds of lawsuits, because the last thing you want to do is have lawsuits, that costs the jurisdiction money, that costs the courts money and end up being frivolous. But I think Randy might have just beaten this thing out, because the court is subject matter jurisdiction over this action pursuant to 28 USC 1331 and USC 1983, as this action arises under the Constitution and laws of the United States and alleges deprivation of rights, privileges, or immunities secured by the Constitution and laws. Venue is proper in the Northern District of Florida, pursuant to these codes, 28 USC, because defendant resides in this judicial district. Assignment to the Gainesville Division of this court is proper because the events giving rise to this action occurred in Levy County, Florida, which is within the Gainesville Division of the Northern District of Florida. Statement of facts. Plaintiffs are protected persons under 2 valid orders of protection issued by the state of Ohio, copies being attached as Exhibit 1 and Exhibit 2. And we have Exhibit 1, let me get a second, which is this one right here. Shows the case number. You're hereby notified that the following has been filed with Summit County Clerk's Office. Final civil protection order. The terms of this order shall be effective until 10/10/2025. Magistrate Candy O'Connor and Catherine Michael, Sandra Kurt, Clerk, Summit County Clerk of Courts. And it shows right here, violating the attached protection order is a crime punishable by incarceration, fine, or both, and may cause a revocation of your bond or result of the contempt of court citation against you. This protection order is enforceable in all counties in Ohio and 50 states, the District of Columbia, tribal lands, U.S. territories pursuant to state laws, the Violence Against Women Act, 18 U.S.C. 2265. Violating this protection order may subject you to state and federal charges and punishment. Only the court may change the terms of this protection order. The petitioner or victim, protected person, cannot give you legal permission to change this order. If you go near the petitioner, victim, protected person, even with the person's permission, you may be arrested. Only the court may change or end this protection order. Unless the court changes or ends this order, you may be arrested for violating this protection order. You act at your own risk if you disregard this warning. Warning to petitioner, you cannot change the terms of this order by your words or action. Only the court allowed them to change this for you to return to your residence. The protection order cannot be changed by either party without obtaining a written court order. Now, they do have a thing about here, firearms as a result of this. It may be a federal crime for you to possess or purchase a firearm, including rifle, pistol, revolver. Protection order may be subject to exceptions. Notice to all law enforcement agencies and officer, the attached protection order is enforceable in all counties in Ohio. Violations of protection order is a crime under this right here. Law enforcement officers with powers to arrest under RC 2935 for violations of Ohio revised code must enforce the terms of protection orders as recoded by RC. If you have reasonable grounds to believe the defendant has violated this protection order, is preferred course of action in Ohio under RC to arrest and detain the defendant until a warrant may be obtained. Federal and state law prohibits changing a fee for service of this order to be the petitioner, alleged victim, or protected parties. They're very specific about it. This right here shows where the address where respondent can be found, gives their address, gives the information about them. And this right here, if I'm not mistaken, is for Martha right here, George. That one's for George. Okay. Now, it doesn't stop there because what the hell is that doing that? My shite just froze up on me. I have too many tabs open. It's going to give me a hard time for a second because I can't stop anything. It's crazy. I gotta love this stuff. Hey, y'all, Randy Shockett is pretty damn smart. I think she'll get by on this one. He probably knows how to word it just right, and he has the evidence. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I agree. Randy's very smart, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to get every single thing in there that you want. Why is that doing it? I'm going to close that. That's not going to help. I have to close the whole damn program. It looks like it's giving me a hard time here. It's probably blinking on me. It's my video card giving me crap is what's happening. So give me a second. It's still trying to respawn. I'm just going to close the whole program. Close the program. And I'll have to open it all back up here in just a second. Because, well, what's easier than having this thing act like a fool? Gotta love StreamYards. Give me a second. I want to open this back up, make sure I've got it. Yes, so we got that one. Damn it. Sorry, my language. That one, and then I'll just come back to the other one that I'm going to be going over for you guys. Give me a second. And sit back in. And zoom back in because it's being difficult. The whole thing is acting funky. All right. There we go. I hate when this happens. All right. So we were here. Bring that back up again. See, it's this is why I'm working on getting a new damn video card. It's just oh my gosh, 256 gig, maybe 1 terabyte video card, and you have a crap load of memory to the system. Yeah, Tuggy issues tonight. Also, yeah, it could be StreamYard, but I think it's why what? Oh, share screen window. Is it okay? Window. Why is it not working? There we go. Share. Okay, it's something's going on with StreamYard. Okay, 2 more for the card. Thank you, Cynthia Firefighter. Appreciate it. God bless. I mean, it's coming. They told me it wouldn't be here until next month. It's a very high-end card. Whenever I say a very high-end card, the amount of graphics I need to process is insane. Thank you, Cynthia. I appreciate it. It's gonna get better. Been a member for 11 months. Hey, Wanda Perez, thank you so much for being here for 11 months. I'll give you the shit show a little bit later on. I want to get these things up and sort of finish that through here. Let me scroll down a little bit more. Let's see. And I think, yeah, we were past this one right here. Now, according to this protection order, it was issued on or about, and it shows you Exhibit 1, Exhibit 2, which is basically the same thing as Exhibit 2 is the same thing, except if you come down here, it says that it's one's for Jeremy, the other one's for George. I mean, George, and yeah, one's for Jeremy, one's for George. All right. Now, this protection order was issued on or about October 30th, 2023, after a hearing on October 10th, 2025, which Lynette and John Crook, the persons against whom the orders were issued, had reasonable notice and opportunity to be heard. Lynette and John Crook both attended the hearing via video conference and represented themselves. The issuing court had jurisdiction over the parties and the subject matter under the laws of Ohio. Under 18 U.S.C. 2265, defendant was required to give full faith and credit to the protection orders and enforce them as if they had been issued in Florida. Instead of enforcing the protection orders as required by federal law, well, defendant said, screw you, and decided to refuse to recognize the validity of the orders. Defendant initiated an investigation into whether Hales had been truthful when obtaining the protection order in Ohio. Defendant, in an email dated 10/30/2023, sent to Brett Beauchamp, or Beauchamp, or whatever they want to call himself, undersheriff, legal advisor for the Levy County Sheriff's Office, stated, "Can you email me the petition that Hales filed in order to obtain this order of protection? If you don't have a copy, please request one from the clerk of Summit County. I want to see if Hales committed perjury in the petition Specifically, I want to see what representations he made with in regards to Preston Cook's residence. My understanding is that Preston Cook has no ties in Ohio, much less Summit County, Ohio. See, you're not supposed to question these things. And that's part of Exhibit 3, as you can see. Can you email me that petition? Because he needs some help. Instead of just looking at the damn order and abiding by the damn order, no, it's trying to relitigate the whole thing. Well, by investigating the truthfulness, the plaintiff's statements in the original protection order, defendant effectively relitigated the merits of the order. Yeah, these aren't something to be questioned by law enforcement. They are to be followed. On or about the 31st of 2023, October 31st, through at least May 1st, both plaintiffs were present at the state of Florida and Levy County, and on 3 occasions beginning in November, presented the protection orders to the Levy County Sheriff's Office requesting enforcement. Again, instead of enforcing the protection orders as required by federal law, defendant refused to recognize the validity of the orders. On or about November 20th, 2023, George reported protection and enforcement of the orders on S. Williamson, 710, of the Levy County Sheriff's Office, who stated in writing a report, I reviewed the Assistant State Attorney defendant's email regarding this matter. It reads the defendant would caution against enforcing this injunction. Would caution against enforcing this injunction? George was made aware of this and told this report would be for documentation only. George advised that she had a video of the event, which I will attach to the report when it is provided. As a result of the defendant's refusal to enforce a protection order, plaintiffs were deprived of the protection that was guaranteed by federal law. Plaintiffs have suffered continuous harm to each plaintiff's victim's sense of safety and well-being. And if you haven't noticed, somebody got deleted not too long ago. And there was another attempt made on other people of, because of craziness. Plaintiffs have suffered continuous harm, very little safety. Their well-being is at risk as a direct result of defendant's failure to enforce the protection orders, including, without limitation, physical harm, threats of such harm, emotional and psychological harm as a result of Preston Cook's intimidating and threatening behavior, assault with a handgun, causing mental distress to the plaintiffs, fear or death of bodily injury due to Preston Cook's persistent and obsessive behavior, impacts on plaintiffs' daily lives and safety, great financial harm as a result of Preston Cook being emboldened by defendant's failure to enforce the protection orders. Violation of civil rights under 24 or 40 USC A 1983, failure to give full faith and credit to protection order. And whenever he's talking about, they're very specific about this. How much of these lawsuits could have been absolutely avoided? Absolutely avoided. The trespass could have been avoided. Well, no, that one probably wouldn't have been avoided because George wasn't involved in that. Those were other people that came over that were employees of Jeremy's, or at the time, I think they were just contractors for Jeremy. And all of a sudden, they're coming over there to help someone out, and then they're being threatened with a lawsuit. They're trespassed. Which, it would be fine, just like, yeah, you can't come on my property anymore, then that's fine. But they wanted to make sure that they got that property off for somebody that was in need. And that's all they did. Made sure that then the man was there the whole time, pointing out, no, that's not mine. Yeah, that's mine. At any point in time, she could have contacted and had somebody out there to make sure that all of her stuff was protected, but having those video cameras on for their own protection, I think that's what she was a little bit upset about. according to what she was screaming and yelling about on Facebook not too long ago. Oh, they violated my human rights or something of that sort. Well, it does. And of course, you've seen the videos, not just on one channel, but on multiple channels. You've probably seen it over here on mine because we went through it. Of course, anytime that the child was around, we didn't see that part. They cut that part out because they don't like showing kids on video. Wasn't LMP on the phone to BBB? Who? I don't know. I mean, it's been so long, and it was such a blip. It was one of those things that was like, cool, they're getting this guy's thing off his property. And you know, you got to see that the property was pretty nasty looking. It wasn't in great shape. And I don't see that it's gotten much better, but hey, I'm not there. I don't know. That's why I say if you can't just report on something that you see on YouTube. You can comment on it. There's nothing wrong with that, but you know, you can't sit there and make a complaint based on those kinds of things. And then, of course, you had the well, let's see, the thumbnail. Well, that one would probably still be there also, but yeah, a lot of the shenanigans that's gone on had they not violated those protection orders, had they just left Jeremy the hell alone, let him do his damn thing and don't become part of the drama. But oh no. No. They wanted to go in there neck deep. That's what they get, neck deep. Plaintiff repeats and religious allegations. Defendant acted under the color of state law. Defendant was acting in his capacity as state official when he refused to enforce plaintiff's protection orders and instead investigated their validity. Defendant had a duty under federal law to give full faith and credit to plaintiff's protection orders. Now, it requires that protection orders are issued by one state be given full faith and credit by officials in another state, providing the issuing court order had jurisdiction and afforded due process. Defendant deprived plaintiffs of rights secured by federal law by refusing to enforce plaintiffs' valid protection orders, instead investigating the truthfulness of plaintiff's statement on obtaining the order. Defendant violated plaintiff's federally protected rights to have the order enforced across state lines. Defendant's actions were the approximate cause of plaintiff's damages. As a direct and promising result of defendant's failure to enforce the protection orders, plaintiffs suffered continuous harm to each plaintiff victim's sense of safety, well-being as a direct result of defendant's failure to enforce the protection orders, including, without limitation, physical harm, threats of such harm, emotional, psychological harm, such as result of Preston Cook's intimidating, threatening behavior, assault with a gun, causing mental distress to the plaintiffs, fear of death or bodily injury due to Preston Cook's persistent and obsessive behavior, and so on and so forth. Now, Preston Cook enlisted others in a civil conspiracy to harm Hales as a result of Preston Cook being emboldened by defendant's failure to enforce the protective orders. So that means that civil conspiracy probably wouldn't have been happening had they just not been allowed to do that. Possibly, maybe. I don't know. That is questionable. That's something that they'll have to argue out in court, probably hash it out. Significant ongoing financial harm, yeah, and if it is true, then it would be significant financial harm. Violation of due process rights. Plaintiffs repeats, alleges defendant acted under the state law, defendant deprived plaintiffs. Now we get down to 34, which is by unilaterally deciding to investigate the basis for the protection orders rather than enforcing them as required by federal law. Defendant deprived plaintiffs of the liberty interest in the protection orders without any constitutionally adequate processes, which means they basically left them hanging out there in the wind, which, just emboldens, a predator. Imagine this. Just picture this in your head if you can. Just a different scenario. Imagine that you're a woman. I mean, I know it's hard to imagine because you have to have boobs usually. Just imagine that you're a woman and you've got somebody that's been stalking you. They've violated you multiple times in one of the most cruel ways that you could possibly do to a woman. You live in the same state, the same county. You were in another county, or this person moves to that same county where you live. You've got a protection order to make sure that they stay away from you. You go to the sheriff's office and you say, listen, I've got a protection order against this person to make sure that they're not supposed to be around me. And then you have the AG of that county, the sheriff's department, deny you that access for protection, which means that this person can come in and violate you yet again. Imagine that. Just picture this in your head. And this is something that the fleas have been promoting. Well, there's nothing they can do about it. This is the kind of attitude that they've had. That's like, well, Jeremy's just a liar. That's like telling a woman that she was lying whenever she got the protective order. There was a protective order put there because there was proof. There was a hearing on it. So are they saying that they would do the same thing to a woman? Is that what they're saying, that they would feel that same way, that they would say, oh, just because I don't like this person because maybe they got a snotty attitude, but she deserved it? Is that what they're saying? What kind of crap is that? It wasn't taken seriously at all. It's disgusting. Exactly. I mean, I'm sorry. That's just absolutely horrible. Yeah, I'm sorry that happened to you. I really am, because I mean, that's something that these psychopaths haven't even thought of. They're just sitting there going, oh, well, I don't like Jeremy, so whatever happens to him, he can protect himself. What about George? What about the behavior that these psychopaths have shown? Are you telling me that they say that's absolutely okay because that's how they've been acting? Hell, even Ray's been saying, well, it's just bullshit. I mean, good Christian work there, Ray. I mean, this is the reason why that protective order was put there. Excuse me, George is a woman. True. I'm saying that this is the kind of attitude that they've been promoting. Why do you think people get so upset whenever they're sitting there going, oh, Jeremy's a liar, though that Ohio protective order doesn't mean shit. He hasn't proven it. No, he's proven it. He has the protective order. Exactly. Thank you, Jack. I'm sorry. It upsets me a little bit because there's a reason why those protection orders are there, and you put the shoe on the other foot, and I guarantee you they would be screaming to high heaven if it was them. I'm sorry. It's upsetting, but knowing that their attitude towards this, all the what the hell's ecosystem, everybody from Bruce to the Lees to Robbie, all these assholes have that same attitude of, well, Jeremy doesn't deserve it. It doesn't matter whether he deserves it or not. It's not just him. It's people around him that can be harmed because of their attitudes. Sorry. The decision to investigate the truthfulness of plaintiff's statements is obtaining the orders effectively nullifies the orders without any hearing or other processes. They want a relief, want a judgment against the defendant, grant the following relief: a declaration of the defendant's failure to give full faith and credit to plaintiff's out-of-state protection orders and violated the plaintiff's constitutional rights; compensatory damages against defendant in the amount to be determined at trial for the injuries suffered by plaintiffs as a result of defendant's unlawful conduct; punitive damages against the defendant in the amount to be determined at trial for for defendants' willful, malicious, or reckless disregard of plaintiffs' federally protected rights, reasonable attorney's fees, costs incurred in bringing this action, injunctive relief requiring defendant and those acting in concert with defendant to give full faith and credit to valid protection orders from other states and to refrain from investigating the basis for such orders except as permitted by federal law. Makes you feel real safe to be in Levy County, doesn't it? If they won't even follow through on a protective order. I'm sorry, that just is really upsetting. Yeah, all of that kind of crap, that whenever I see that, it just boils my muffins. I guess you could say that, maybe something like that. Okay, now this is where we're going to stop for a little bit, take a little bit of a breather, because we're going to get our tinfoil hats, kids. We're going to throw those things on. We're going to wrap ourselves in tinfoil, get really nice, tight, snuggly, not enough to like lose consciousness or anything, but it is going to be interesting where we're going with this next one today, because it was brought to my attention. And I will, I have to thank part of the ecosystem for this. I really do. And there's a reason why I have to thank them, because had it not been for Volmit sending me an email questioning something that made me actually look into this. So Volmit, no, the letter's coming up later. The letter's coming up after this. So Volmit sent me an email, and normally I just don't read their crap. There was this little thing attached to it. And whenever I saw it, I was like, what a douche. And instead of actually, just completely disregarding it, I, being the moron that I am most of the time, said, why don't I look at this? Because I think I pulled it, I had pulled this case up a while back because I was going to talk about it. And I really didn't have a whole lot of opportunity, because at that point in time that I found this case, at the time that I found this case, I was having Lips trying to dox me, and also going after a lawsuit and all this other kind of crap that was happening. It was like all this frivolous bullshit that was going on. And so I was just like, you know what? Why don't I dig back into this again whenever I have an opportunity? And, thank you, Volmit, for being such a dumbass and bringing this to my attention. Thank you. That was absolutely wonderful that you called my attention to this, because normally I would have just ignored your shit. But for whatever reason, you sent me the link, and I was like, this case looks familiar, but I can't remember where I've seen this from. And then once I saw it, I was like, oh, I got it. So, Volmit, you should like, maybe, be asking for some like credit, but that's about the only credit that you're going to get from me. But before we do that, how about I give you guys one of my old good old dancing songs. I think you just need this to get just a nice little bit of a break away from it. Or how about I'll just give you Venom song. How's that? I'll give you Venom song. Yeah, I'm going to give you Venom song and let you guys enjoy that. And then we'll kick into this, because by the time I'm done with this, you are going to be amazed. You will have seen something that I didn't think was possible. So here we go.
Venom, lady in black. She listening in the shadows, ready to attack. No warning shot, no polite hello. Has wicked grin and a toxic glow. She's dripping poison like gossip at brunch. A sharp bite and you become her lunch. Sexy till you're twitching on the floor. She's smirking in your face, then comes back for more. Bite, bite, baby, better say your prayers. Venom's got stilettos and homicidal flair. She's vicious, delicious, a queen with a sting. The sexiest nightmare you've ever seen. Pucker up, sugar. Mama's venom tastes sweet.
Yeah, I like that. I like that one. Venom got no butt. Wouldn't you like to know? Oh, hey, it was just an AI thing. So enjoy. I like the video. You've seen it 6-7 times the last 2 days. It's a good one. I know it is a good one. I'm glad she liked it too. She was just like, that was so awesome. That was so awesome. All right, let me bring this thing up for you because this now everybody is going to have to get their tinfoil hats on, and I mean whenever I say get your tinfoil hats on, grab your tinfoil hats. I'm actually gonna put my tinfoil hat on right now, because if I wear that for much longer, it becomes very painful. So get your tinfoil hats on, folks, and you're going to have to stick with me on this one because it's going to become really, really important to see this all. Okay. Oh, okay. Give me a second. Might need to make sure that I have this particular one. I just want to make sure that I have. Okay. So this initially was put into a filing. This particular case right here. Okay. I'm not showing who the person was in this particular case, but there was a motion to withdraw as counsel of record. And what the accusation comes from this right here. And it says, come defense respectfully move this court for a telephonic status conference as grounds for their motion. Defense states as follow. This matter comes before the court on defense motion to dismiss defense motion for sanctions briefly fully closed on June 16th. Now, once I saw this, I was just like, forging defendant Tyler Heach's signatures on pleadings without permission, Exhibit 1. And I was just like, okay, so that's what I saw here. And I was curious about this, but not really, because whenever I actually dug into this and dug into it a little bit deeper, when I started looking at it, I was just like, okay, what we have here is something that was filed in another case. Okay. Initially, this was a filing. The initial case starts out, and the only reason I found it is because I was just doing a random search because somebody had said something about DUI Guy being in a lawsuit or something like that. And I was just like, well, what in the hell is this? So I went and pulled the actual documents on it. I pulled up the documents about this particular lawsuit. The particular lawsuit, and I'm not going to go into the finite details of it, but the particular lawsuit was Larry had a former employee that worked for him that, from what I can gather, may have taken clients away from him and cost him money. And Larry is basically sued him. And at some point in time, this was supposed to go into arbitration as per like their employee agreement. This is still ongoing litigation. You can easily, this is all easily obtainable court documents. If you can get into Pacer, you can find all of this stuff. Okay. It's not like I'm giving away any sort of trade secrets or anything. Okay. So Larry sues former employees. Former employees come out and agree to do an arbitration. Okay. Now, this particular arbitration, basically, an arbitration would the request was to put the trial on hold. So it basically take his lawsuit, put it on hold until they can handle it in arbitration. And then once arbitration is done, it's done more behind the scenes. Okay. So you do the arbitration behind the scenes. So and it's partially, it'll help protect any sort of trade secrets, and it doesn't shine a bad light on anybody. You can get these things sort of taken care of, and you have an arbitrator that handles all the finite details, going through all the contracts, whatever. Not a big deal, except what I noticed was And I was really curious about this, and I confirmed that around April is whenever there was supposed to be a hearing. And in the meantime, there was just these most insane, weird filings inside of Lynette's case, almost like it was somebody was trying to tank it, because it was just like filing after filing after filing, and just weird, the most random stuff. And the language was very volatile and precise. And if anybody's been watching the Fed One case, you know what I'm talking about. It got like almost every single night there was 30 plus pages of filings that was coming in from dues. And I was just like, what in the hell is going on? So around April, all of these filings are happening. And in April, or maybe that was March, around March is when all this was happening. Around April, all of a sudden, there's supposed to be a sanctions hearing. And somebody bails. It says, oh, I'm going to be working behind the scenes. And I was like, what attorney works behind the scenes? I mean, attorneys like to, it was an absolute flood of chaos. Hey, good to see you, Angie. It was a flood of absolute chaos that was happening. Oh, what is that? What is the pea brain heads of the ecosystem members that make them think web posting and chat are like DMs and only friends can hear and see what they say or do can't be used against them in court? They're idiots. They're absolute idiots is what it boils down to. And I mean, I don't understand it myself. Let me get you a super sticker. Like I said, I got to keep the helmet glowing here because like I said, this is all just guessing. I mean, I could be absolutely wrong on all of this. I'm just spitballing here. I'm just talking about what I've observed. This is it, just an observation. Shh, don't tell them we all know. Oh, God bless America. Let me get this back up here. I closed the wrong screen because I'm an idiot. All right, let's see. Let's get back to the silver helmet here. Okay. So once I saw that around April is whenever Deuce left. Well, in May, all of a sudden there was a big change in the language. And let me show you what I mean. It's pretty straightforward. And it'll make a little more sense whenever I start showing you this. I mean, look at the way that this is put out. I mean, you'll see sort of like where the motion is located, how things are said, the complaint on the grounds and claims asserted should be compelled to arbitration and dismissed while defendants deny taking a single client, case lead, trade secrets, blah, blah, blah. It says, nevertheless, subject to the arbitration clause in plaintiff's contract with the Hitches and the claims in the Hitch defense attorneys, all this kind of crap. Okay. Now, Larry signed a valid arbitration agreement and asked the Hitches to sign it. The claims against the law firm defendants fail as a matter of law should simply be dismissed. Larry has listed 2 other plaintiffs along with him. And then it's pretty straightforward. And then all of a sudden this happens. And did you notice the big change here? The big change in what this is. And it's also a short change where the wording goes, where everything happens, the kinds of things that are put in there all of a sudden the language changes and becomes more combative. And you see it happen just in a short period of time. In his response, acknowledged he did not have the right to file this suit, but that's not what it is. It's, this should be, he agrees, should be an arbitration, but once we finish the arbitration, the suit basically becomes null and void. I mean, it's common practice to bring the suit, it goes into arbitration, and then the suit just basically dies. They come up with a resolution, everything gets closed. No, it's definitely not him. And then that resolved the circuit split, blah, 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 has a little bit of the court citations in here. And you see that all of a sudden that, the citations get a little bit different, because inside the citation, it says court should reject Larry's poison pill language that would revive this case through his own bad acts. Although Larry lacks any standing to impose rules on arbitration beyond those under law and or the contract he drafted, he nonetheless, all of a sudden it becomes, he has no standing to impose rules, but right up here it says he should have arbitrated it. So it's like this double speak that there's a certain attorney that I've seen that does this. Somewhere around the end of April, all of a sudden it changes. He would simply have to pay a fine to the court for the privilege, which he'd more than blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden it goes into Larry's YouTube channel. Now, all of this stuff before was nothing, but you notice what happens right here. Oh, the change in the filing here, these double lines all of a sudden appear up at the top. It isn't quite so much as a motion. It just all of a sudden, it's like this direct attack. And it comes down here. Larry's YouTube channel has become devoted to vicious attacks on members of the bar, judges, and witnesses. This isn't the way that those attorneys were talking at that time. No, it's not a Botox motion. Trust me, it has got somebody else's language all over it. And then it starts, given that Larry has fabricated evidence to create and maintain this lawsuit. See, this is not something that was ever mentioned any time before this. All of a sudden, it changed. At this point, defendants are justified in treating all plaintiff submissions with skepticism. This court should not give the opportunity to do to this court what he's already done in a federal district court in Florida. Why are they all of a sudden mentioning Florida? Florida had nothing to do with this. And all of a sudden, they're bringing in scam attorneys exposed, Department for Shocking Actions, and all of these. Guess who they're talking about here? All of a sudden, this, you have to understand, this is right here, 6/2/2025. This right here, all of a sudden, happens. Everything changed. All of a sudden, it's more about someone's hurt feelings. Someone's hurt feelings all of a sudden come showing up in here. In support of this baseless court, the baseless demand of the court, Larry cites 9 USCA 3 and 4, which state the party defaulted to arbitrate, not the parties get out of arbitration by failing to pay the arbitrator, like Larry's argument gets sanctions. It appears to be written by AI. Oh, all of a sudden it's written by AI? If the court were to impose rules on this arbitration, defense moves the court to impose rules of the American Arbitration Association, which are common. It says it appears to be AI slop. Now, who would talk like that? There's only one person I can think of that talks like that. Now, I mean, I could be absolutely wrong on this. This is all speculation. Like I said, I've got my tinfoil hat on right now. I mean, this is the frogs are turned gay right here, and I'm just curious. Defense did not attach a proposed order for sanctions required under this, but in another sense on substance, Larry is both wrong and to be charitable. And see, these little jabs right here speak so many volumes. Generative AI as opposed to genuine research. Larry cites cases which claims to support the idea for sanctions are unwarranted here because he waived his right and his firm's right to arbitrate. Defense could have waived the right. See, and it's like, all of a sudden, it's like this big attack on Larry, almost like they don't want to go to arbitration. Like they're saying, we go to arbitration. No, not even, what was it? When was this one submitted? Let me look. I can look right here at the very top of this thing. 5/8 is whenever this one was filed. And it seems to be just pretty. Larry has listed 2 other co-plaintiffs along with him, and basically these are pretty boilerplate. I mean, just boring. Does that make sense? I mean, we've seen what boring looks like whenever somebody files something that's boring. It's pretty just like, okay. And then we've seen Bruce with his exaggerations of all kinds of shit. I mean, it just all of a sudden turns into this like smear campaign. It's throwing in a whole bunch of extra crap that, trying to make a point. And then, of course, it's very specific about, instead of Mr. Foreman, it's calling him Larry. It's being very condescending to him, which is, it doesn't seem to be the way that all of the filings were happening before this. Like I said, tinfoil hat on. This is all just like one of those kinds of things. No, I don't think Paint Chips is involved in this one. No, it's not clean enough, and because the language just seems very, like I said, seems very much like he's going after Larry. Paint Chips doesn't have a beef with him, but this is clearly someone that has issue with him. And it starts bringing in all of these things about AIs and crap like that. AI is slop, often simply slop is a derogatory term. And it's just like, okay. And also starts quoting in Wikipedia things, which who else would have brought in something like Wikipedia? Who would be quoting the Urban Dictionary? Like I said, it just all of a sudden changed tactics, like really drastic tactics, to this, to just being like really bitter, like got some serious beef against Larry. I mean, this goes beyond just the simple, like, I used to work for him and I don't like the way that he operates his business, and he's suing me, so I'm going to sue him back, but I'm going to go about it like legal and make sure that all my T's are dotted, my I's are crossed, and all that kind of crap. And then, of course, it continues on with Larry goes into the weeds in his response, arguing the merits of his case. Namely, he argues contemporaneous strikes to the contract and this conclusion, and just goes off. And I was like, okay, does it continue like this? And so I get to the next one, which is this one right here. Notice the same styling, that double lined. And all of a sudden, you go from just a short period of time, there are some more pleadings in between this. It says, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it says, in addition, plaintiffs have accused in this case of fabricating claims have been credibly accused and sued for fabricating libels against another attorney. Sued for fabricating libels against another attorney. Now, you have to understand that this particular case was brought in almost identical within hours, if I'm not mistaken. So imagine it goes from being this very state-related case, and we've seen this kind of tactic used before. And if I'm not mistaken, this same tactic that was used, which this one happened about the same time. It happened on 9/22 that this was brought in. So maybe somebody's using somebody else's playbook and says, hey, instead of me throwing a notice in there, maybe I do the same shenanigans that somebody did in another case, in another Florida hearing, bringing in something from another state, something that's happening in the state court. We can tie these two in together. Now, here's where, the tinfoil hat gets much thicker. Okay. You gotta strap on a little bit of extra tinfoil for this one. So, remember back oh God, when was it? It was about the time that I was being doxxed. That Doozy wanted to send me emails telling me to stop covering his stuff. Stop covering what he requested that I cover. Stop talking about me. You've been defaming me and all this other kind of crap. What it sounds like to me is his plan, and I could be wrong on it. Like I said, this is all speculation, but his plan is to involve a bunch of YouTubers that don't want to have anything to do with him because he feels the need to just interject himself in everything because, not only does it appear that he's failing at, being an attorney, he's also failing in life or something. I don't know what the issue is, but, he has all the appearance of just being a very angry little man that just, can't find a grasp on life. I mean, maybe he has. Maybe this is what his legacy is going to be. Just go around and sue anybody because his little fifi's got hurt. I don't know. I don't know what the issue is. I don't really care. But it does appear to me, maybe in my little conspiratorial mind, that if he can bring enough suits in each individual state, each individual place, that maybe his goal is to all of a sudden tie them into one big federal case, so that way he can go after YouTube. Because you notice that the little Cankle twins or fleas or whatever the hell they're going by, I don't know what name it is that they're using these days. Whatever name it is that they're going by, the Warriors or something like that, that they've been talking about, oh, this is so much bigger than you think. We're going to have this big, huge case, and it's going, we're going after YouTube. We're going to take them down. Maybe, like I said, big conspiracy here, and you have to ask, well, how are they getting this funding for it? Well, remember, there was a whole bunch of funding that got brought up not too long ago. We've been talking about this. You just debunked what I said on Doug's Live tonight. Booby said he was going to sue YouTube long ago. Yeah. He did say that on their show. Yes, that's what I'm saying. And it's not about us. It's just trying to get a really big lawsuit happening. And in doing so, thinks that he can get us all on board of going after YouTube to get these kinds of restrictions or whatever his play is. Do I think only me is funding? No, I don't think only me is funding. I think that the funding is coming in, and they've got the funding. The funding is already there. Think about it. How much money was raised? How much money was spent? Where is that money sitting? It's sitting in somebody else's pocket to do with what they want to do. How much funding was raised on all fronts? All the little GoFundMe, GoRaisers, PayPals, all that kind of crap. I'm like I said, this is all conspiracy. I've got nothing that can absolutely prove this, but it just seems really odd to me that all of a sudden dues. And if you look at the original complaint that I showed the other night, the original thing that was brought in, the amount of money that was brought in was 400 and some odd thousand. It couldn't even round up to 500,000. Couldn't even round up to that 500,000. That's a lot of money to get in on a lawsuit. And you require that kind of money. So start piece by piece. If you can break down one person, you get them to just say, oh, I'll settle for less. I'll get you out of a court case. You just settle on this. Larry, I don't think will ever settle on it, which is where they tend to lose, because they've seen Larry just stop talking about this unless it was something important that he could talk about, because Larry, unlike other attorneys, tends to have a little more ethics, where some people just, I think the ethics left somewhere around, their second year of being a practicing attorney or something. But all of a sudden, it's going to take that's one Marl Hughes said about 419,000. Now, just imagine you can come up with about half that amount of money. Just half that amount of money to not necessarily prolong a litigation, but get it far enough along that you start adding more people to it. You know, you have to remember the fleas have said multiple times, oh, you have no idea what's coming. You have no idea what's coming. Well, because they can't shut their cock washers at any point in time. They just open them like, you know, because they're so excited. They're giving all these promises. Remember that Jesus said this is going to be such a big case. It's going to be gigantic. Like, it's small beans. Jeremy is small beans. Imagine, you know, going after a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, going after Facebook. Imagine how many of those of the little minions, the little left wing that really hates freedom of speech and thinks that everybody should. Now, I'm talking about the extreme left wing. We're talking about the black bloc. We're talking about those psychopaths out there that, you know, and end up like deleting ICE agents because, you know, somebody told them to. What in the hell is going on with these folks? Imagine those guys right there, how fast they would back making sure that people don't have the right to speak their mind, because whenever they're mocked, it just hurts the little fee-fees. Oh my God, F that. This all I'm saying is, you know, big conspiracy blanket here, but you could start getting back, you know, big funding backing, you know, and why do you think you would have people like Volmit wanting to destroy people like Randy Shockett? Why do you think Bruce is trying to shut down Randy Shockett? Because he's effective. Any attorney that steps up, all Deuce will do is just file a bar complaint against him. Because that he's already shown this is the kind of person that he is. He's already filed bar complaints against other attorneys. I mean, this isn't the first one that he's done it against. And if he hasn't done it to other people, then maybe he's convinced other people to file a complaint against him, maybe former clients. You know, it's really easy, and because that is a little manipulative fuck right there. I think I figured out. You just figured out who the hidden lawyer is. Just imagine you can shut down all of these people. You can bring all of this garbage in and start shutting down YouTube, and all that you're getting out of it is a big name and a face. And what does it matter to you? Because you've already got your place set up. Your retirement's already set up. You're already good to go. You're already chilling out. And you know what? I'm going to retire now. And my name will live in infamy forever. Look at how the great things I did. I don't know. Like I said, it's all conspiracy. There may be nothing here at all. It could just be me, you know, just with the chrome dome on going, oh, everything seems to be happening. Like I said, it just seemed really odd to me that this was brought in. And that's why I think that if Larry is able to get this shut down really quick. And I think that in any of these cases, whenever this kind of crap happens, it should be shut down immediately. As soon as they start bringing in multiple crap like this, they should get it shut down, because it doesn't bear any relevance to it. I can see, you have to remember that Bruce is going after Shara because he knows that she's effective. She knows what's going on behind the scenes. She can call him out. She can bust his ass down so quick that it makes it really hard for him to continue on with that kind of stuff. Why do you think he wants to shut her up? I'm thinking big conspiracy shit here. So I actually hired a real lawyer. Oh no, BBB did hire an attorney. I won't go into anything about that attorney because I don't want to give him any wind. But that's the thing. All of the language has all of the same hallmarks of the kind of crap that BBB would be throwing out there. The same kind of language, the same kind of rhetoric. all of the same hallmarks, and making him very clearly to be part of the the victim mentality, because that's how he operates. See, BBB is like that guy that you knew in high school that would slap the shit out of some girl, and then whenever whenever someone stood up to him and beat him down for being, the little scrawny shithead and doing something vile to a woman, they would claim the victim and file suit. Whereas the girl was just like, this dude slapped me, some guy punches him out, and then he sues the guy that punched him out, although he was the one that went and, did something horrible to somebody. I'm not saying that he's ever done that. I'm just saying that's the type of person that it appears that he is, that he would do something vile and horrible, and then whenever he gets smacked down, plays victim. He's already done this in Fed case 1. He's going to do this in Fed case 2. He's going to start crying victim. You can see it coming a mile away. You already got Torque and Dork that's doing the crying victim, saying, "Woe is me." You already got the Bonecrusher, the one that calls people an ignoramus, sitting there jumping on the whole bandwagon and playing victim. You've got Fleesa that plays victim. All of these people just play victim. And look, they raised a good amount of money. Nobody can tell me any different, because until I actually see everything, they raised a hell of a lot of money. And I think that it's well into the 6 figures that they raised. They don't have the receipts. They're not going to show the receipts. Why do you think they mucked up the whole bankruptcy thing? Well, you can delay it on one front, and then you don't have anybody digging into Flea's and Deuce's little bank accounts. If that case moves forward, guess what? They'll be digging into those bank accounts. Angie, I have no idea. I could, like I said, big, big silver hat on my head right here. It's all conspiracy. You got no proof on it. Got no proof on any of what I'm saying. I'm just like, until somebody can point something different that, oh, that's what it is, and all I say is just pay attention. Pay attention. See if all of a sudden you start seeing these lawsuits come in on other YouTubers for various reasons, And I think, initially it might have been to try to get some of Jeremy's money. I'm sure that they would have been willing to settle out for a good portion, but right now it's been costing him so much money. Why do you think Bruce bailed on it and looked for an easier target? He's got such a hard-on for Larry, but I don't think that hard-on is really for Larry. Marley claimed 419. Hey, I don't know. I don't know what Marley claimed. Marley claims a whole bunch of crap. It's crazy. I know only me 56K, and I do know that the other amount was 20K. Only me began questioning Gigi's record, but you have to remember, Angie, even by Fleece's own purporting of what they made, it was well above of what Only Me donated. Because you remember they said Only Me thinks he was a big donor? No, Only Me wasn't the big donor. We went well above that from all the private donors. So well above that. How big of a well above that was it? Was it double that? Was it 50% more? I mean, we could be looking at we could be looking at close to $500,000 that they raised just by private individuals donating in. You saw how fast. What was it? 4 or 5 people that donated to Lynette's fund to handle all of the bankruptcy hearings that they said was for like 4 different cases. How fast did they raise 6? Like within just a few days. They grifted off of raising money for that barn, demonium, and the fence and all that crap for what, 6, 7, 8 months? Since this time last year, they were trying to raise money for that. Tug means over 100,000 easily. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, well over 100,000. That's just between only me and the private donations. We don't know. They don't want to show that money. And all of a sudden it becomes Lisa's money to do whatever she wants to with it. Am I right? Or am I right? Yeah, but 6,000 is a far cry from 5 million. Oh, it could be, Alfie. Could be a far cry from it, but we're just talking about a couple of people. We're just talking about one person brought in 56K. And then all of a sudden you've got other people bringing in money. We don't know. Nobody knows because Felisa doesn't want to talk about it. Imagine how much they thought that they were going to get out of Jeremy. How quickly they all have abandoned Lynette. I mean, they're working in the background. You know, you got to keep her on the leash because you don't want to give up the ghost too soon. You sure it's in her personal account? You sure it's actually in her personal account? You sure that's where it is? You sure it hasn't been moved to, I don't know, a place that doesn't have any extradition for bank accounts? You positive? Positive that's where it went? Okay, I got to make a better tinfoil hat. I'm telling you, you have to. I laughed and said, go ahead and check her accounts. She laughed and said, go ahead, check her accounts. Of course. Why wouldn't she? Why won't she show them? She knows that they're going to try to fight that every step of the way. And in the meantime, it makes other people that are over there just give up that money. Just give it up. Lisa grifted to get what she wanted. These rabbit ears from the old TV, they work better. See, Angie's got it right. The ghost attached to her and she has been screaming to be released. I've done my time in hell. Let me out of here. Stronger signals. Oh boy. Well, you know, like I said, I was going to, you know, bring out the damned, you know, crazy bit of conspiracy. And I mean, you can speculate all you want to on this. I mean, it's an interesting exercise. It's an interesting exercise in looking at something, see if it fits. I mean, I probably just wrong all entirely off the bat. I don't doubt that I am. But you know, there will be certain tells. There will be certain things that happen. You know, if you see other YouTubers brought into lawsuits, you know, by the same people or other people, just all of a sudden randomly, why are they being brought into a lawsuit? Why all of a sudden, you know, why is Veterans Nation in there? Why is Georgie and Coop in there? Why is Shizzy in there? Why is Tug? Why is Megan? Why are all these people getting brought into these lawsuits? Makes you then you know that something's up. It goes beyond just the little bit of butthurt that there's something bigger going on, because you know of course, you know, something for the flea has to be absolutely humongous. She gets her hot plate. She gets a hot plate too. Her run fund, I don't know. I mean, it could be. Like I said, I don't have any proof of this. I mean, I'm just speculating. I'm most likely wrong. It's all conspiracy. Whether I'm right or wrong doesn't really matter. Max Lab, there's only hope. Max Lab, you're the only hope. like Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're our only hope, Max Lab. Yo, it has to be huge. I've seen the earthquake. Stronger signals from space. I need stronger signals from space. That's what I need. Richter scale goes off whenever she laughs. Oh my god. I gotta do it. It kills me every single time. You know, maybe I should just play this every time that I'm going to do like conspiracy stuff. That would probably be the best way to do it, right? Play this every time I hear conspiracy.
Clear my throat.
But Lynette admitted to making one, but not all of them.
I'm just saying.
Just saying.
It opened up my eyes. So I walked the line.
Just saying.
Never gonna give you up.
Just saying.
Fascinating. I saw the sign.
Fascinating.
One more time.
This is, in fact, a PR team.
The PR team.
You know.
We got the clips.
Just saying.
And the emphysema dream.
Oh, wow. In my throat, it's like a tickle, you know? Yeah.
Let me clear my throat again.
Absolute idiot.
Throat. It kills me every time. How can you tell you're lying without telling me you're lying? Just saying. Well, I can't tell you I'm lying without telling you I'm lying. That's a conundrum you'll never be able to pass through. We are talking about yes. All right. Well, I got through that much quicker than I thought I would. Like I said, there's a lot of moving parts, and I think there's possibly things that Larry can do to really sort of quash that stuff in the first place, and I hope that he does, because from my understanding is, and I could be wrong because, like I said, I'm no attorney, but there's things that he can file that basically would make it impossible for that to be brought into federal court, because see, that's okay. Let's put the conspiracy hat back on. So here's the thing: if you get all these people, then you bring it into federal court, then now you can do cross state. Okay, conspiracy here. You can get cross state. You can get multiple people from different states involved in this whole thing of a conspiracy of that Bruce has probably conjured up in his head and wants to say, oh well, you got this whole look. There's an ecosystem over there. There's a whole ecosystem. See, what sort of screwed him up was the fake what the Hales page getting knocked out. And then all of a sudden, some people decided to create a little ecosystem for fun, because it was just like, oh, we want to have a place where we can share ideas and talk about stuff. And guess what? Now you guys have become the target, because what do you call yourselves? You call yourselves the ecosystem. Good job, guys. I mean, I understand the reason behind it, but the only problem is they're going to use that to come after you. Fools, all fools, every single one of you. And I'm not saying that it's a bad place to be. I'm just saying that they're going to be coming looking for you, every single one of you. And then they'll be going after Facebook, every single little thing that you're doing in there. They're going to screenshot, they're going to record everything that you talk about, and then they're going to say, look, they're trying to take us down. They're trying to limit free speech, and we need to basically subpoena all the records from Facebook for all these people that are involved in the ecosystem, every single person. But the fake hate page is gone. They can't post anonymous anymore, and they can't spy on those droppings, info, or suspicions. But see, that's the problem. Now you have a different group that got created. Conspiracy hat on here. They're coming after you, ecosystem. Just saying. Make sure that you watch what you say. Make sure you watch what you do, because they are coming after you. It's not a matter of of who they're coming after. It's just a matter of when. I'm telling you that every single one of you that are a part of that, they're going to be looking at you. And you know, I don't see anything wrong with having a Facebook group that's talking about things. They'll see posters in court. I haven't even been listening to them. I'm telling you, this is their playbook. This is their playbook, is to come after people, to subpoena those court records, to make sure that they have all the information they possibly can. And, you know, if you post things in there, just realize that that stuff will be brought up in court. And it may seem like innocuous, but you have to remember you have a person that likes to twist words and make up tales that may or may not be true. Do you not remember the bullshit that Federico's filed? That everybody was out to get her, everybody was attacking her. Do you not remember this? Do you not remember the lies that you were seeing that she was talking about with Megan, Tug, Jay Hip? Do you not remember the words that they talked about, the words that they said? Those were words that were never said. Megan never said that she was disbarred. Tug never said she was disbarred. I think Jay Hip might have, but they came back and retracted what he said and said, I misunderstood, and corrected himself. But they still use that to say, of all of these things that were untrue, to word it in such a way of things that they were untrue. They came and said that I made open threats against her and her family. They called 911 over that stuff, over reading court documents and claiming that they were coming after her personally, that they were sending people to her home, that they were dropping things off. Remember, they did that to Jeremy. They said that Jeremy sent people to her home. I mean, you can deny it, but these are things that they said. These are open things that they were talking about. It wasn't just what happened to Lips and Chips. They have been really quiet because they're in a lawsuit right now. You notice they got really quiet as soon as that happened, because just like Larry doesn't talk about these lawsuits. You won't see the only thing that you've seen Larry talk about is that the case was over and his speculation on what was going to happen with Ducey, with Stark, and what was happening in those cases now that they were dismissed and now that the sanctions were coming. That's the only thing that he said. And look what happened. As soon as he talked about that, all of a sudden it became that he was that Larry was calling him a scumbag. This is their game plan, because they want to make you be quiet. They want theirs to be the only voices that are heard. They don't want you to be able to have an opinion. They don't want you to be able to point out their fallacy. They like to work in the dark. They like to work in the shadows. They've done this their entire lives. And as soon as somebody shines the light on them, they're like cockroaches and they run for the damn hills. But we've got something special for you guys tonight. And I hope you enjoy it because, well, I worked on it for a little bit.
It is about time. Let's break this mother down. With Shizzywhiznut.
An open letter. BBB's ghostwriting for dummies. Some men imagine themselves as puppet masters, whispering orders from behind the curtain. Well, BBB fancies himself as one of them, but he's more like a drunk uncle at karaoke screaming the lyrics while pretending nobody sees him. He wants to be the invisible hand. In reality, he's the sticky fingers leaving prints on every doorknob. Don't want to know where those hands have been either. For years, he's been staging these little productions, different names on the pleadings, different letterheads, different jurisdictions, yet the smell just never changes. It reeks of BBB. The same paranoia, the same obsession with false accusations, the same recycled fantasy that the court exists solely to validate his wounded ego. It doesn't matter if it's a former employee carrying the papers or another second-rate hanger-on parroting his line. The ink bleeds BBB's desperation. He thinks of it as camouflage, but it's the kind of camouflage that a child uses when they close their eyes and assume that they're invisible. Each filing is a flare in the night sky. The timing lines up well too neatly. The rhetorical ticks repeated like a broken record. He believes in strategy. What he's really producing is a confession with every single motion he files. Well, Doozy has been at this for so long that he's predictable down to the syllable. He just cannot resist certain tricks. The overuse of parenticles, the smug narrative about fabricated this and false that, the melodramatic whining about integrity. He is a one-man band of grievance, hitting the same three notes until the whole courthouse wants to just wear earplugs. His fingerprints aren't subtle, they're screaming in neon. The man's filing style reads like a soap opera script written by a bitter paralegal who just lost her bar bet. A complaint is supposed to be a legal document, not a mashup of Urban Dictionary, YouTube links, and juvenile nicknames. Yet there's BBB calling himself the victim while citing internet slang as though it carries the weight of precedent. Well, that's not lawyering, that's low T in a cheap suit. And the testimony, the sanctimony, my God, the sanctimony. BBB treats every courtroom like his personal therapy session. He weeps on paper about his honor, his reputation, his integrity, as if stringing those words together makes them real. Meanwhile, the rest of the world sees exactly what he is. A repeat performer in a traveling circus of bad faith. He isn't defending himself, he's auditioning for pity. He's been recycling this act for years. Different court, same script, different target, same tantrum. He just can't help himself. The polyflop routine is just a chain of borrowed filings, each one dragged into new litigation like a corpse on display. He wants it to look like a network of serious legal minds. What he's built is a scrapbook of his own neuroses, stapled together with other people's signatures. Even when he hands the pen to a former employee or lets another desperate name plaster theirs on the cover sheet, the performance is too loud to ignore. The phrasing, the timing, the obsession with sanctions, all of it screams BBB. He doesn't know how to step aside quietly. He's too desperate to be recognized, even in disguise. Well, it isn't coordination, it's an addiction. BBB can't stop inserting himself, even when he's supposed to be invisible. He can't resist the thrill of the smear, the joy of clogging dockets with his grievances. Well, he calls it legal strategy, but it's really a compulsion, the same compulsion that made him a courtroom punchline from Massachusetts to Florida. And here's the ugly truth. All of it could be torn apart with just a handful of motions. It's not complicated, not heavy lifting, just a little broom work. The carnival bark can be silenced with the clean-up sweep that brushes away anything irrelevant. The shrieking tantrum can be met with a mirror check that asks the court if these papers were filed for any reason other than harassment. The endless recycling of old junk can be stopped cold with a lock on the door that keeps foreign garbage from being dragged in again. Well, and if he keeps it up, there's always the receipt book where it costs him his tantrum to get stapled right onto his forehead. 4 tools, that's all. 4 taps of the gavel and his whole act could collapse like wet cardboard. Well, and let's be honest, he's never been good at this. A real strategist keeps their fingerprints off the glass. BBB smears his all over the place and then wonders why everyone knows he's been there. He doesn't mask his voice. He just shouts through someone else's megaphone. Well, it doesn't disappear. He lurks in plain sight like a man in a trench coat at a middle school play, thinking nobody notices. Trust me, everybody notices. But this is his legacy. A man who wanted to be feared for his cunning, but will only ever be remembered for his clumsy overreach. A man who thought he was writing masterworks of litigation, but churned out a sloppy fan fiction of his own grievances. A man who mistook being noticed for being respected. Every filing, every exhibit, every tantrum is nothing more than proof of his obsession with staying relevant. He has been at this for so long that even judges can predict his routine. The ink dries before the echoes fade. The next case smells exactly like the last. He believes in secrecy, but he has never been capable of it. His record is not hidden. His broadcasts, his moves are not subtle. They're choreographed pratfalls on repeat. If this is a magician's act, then the hat has been empty for years and the rabbit is roadkill. And here's the punchline for all his effort. BBB still hasn't realized he's the easiest man in the courthouse to spot. Everyone else is playing chess, but he's standing on the board in a clown wig holding a sign that says, "Look at me." He's been doing this for so long that his tricks are fossils. His camouflage is a cartoon. His strategy is a confession, just in slow motion. He thinks he's clever. He thinks he's untouchable. But what he really is and what has always been is transparent. The more he tries to hide, the more obvious he becomes, and that's why he will never win. No matter how many filings he recycles, no matter how many people's law degrees he hides behind, the performance is over before it begins. Signed, Shizzywhiznut, the guy with Velcro shoes drooling on the short bus window and somehow still spotting your secret. Thanks, Bubbles. You give me content.
It is about time. Let's break this mother down. With Shizzywhiznut.
So how'd you like that one? And thank you. Max, how you doing? Everyone, please do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button and, share the live stream. Share it out, share it loud, share it proud. And I told you I was going to get to these. So I've got to give you the wonderful.
Welcome to the shit show.
Oh, yes.
Every single day.
Perez.
A new flavor of fuckery. Cause everybody's such, you see, and they're dumber than a bag of clots. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then 4 more days of increasingly stupid, ridiculous, ignorant, vulgar, ass-poppycock, politics, and fuckery. We're all over again.
And we also have mostly harmless fuzzball that says Levy County has a prosecution rate for saxophone related offenses that is half the national rate, even when they have DNA evidence. So screwed up. I hate to hear that. Oh, good to see you, Matt. Mostly harmless fuzzball. We like the harmful fuzzballs, but if you're mostly harmless, then I think you fall into that category. We got you there. And again, Rob Pate, I don't know if I got you a sticker, but we're going to get you one now. What is the P-Brain has half of the ecosystem members that make them think web posting and chat are like DMs only, and only friends can hear or see what they say or do, can't be used against them in court. Yeah, I mean, the thing is there's certain speech that they can have that's not going to get them in trouble. There's things that you can say that will not get you in trouble. And there's ways of wording that's going to keep you out of trouble. You know, if you're coming in and you're doing, if you're calling on harm to other people, and you try to couch it in a certain way, that can be very actionable. Just saying. You know, there's somebody, which I'm surprised they haven't got their channel completely removed, for telling somebody to self-delete. There's another person that talked about self-deleting, and I'm surprised that they stuck around as long as they did on there. I mean, there's so many crazy things that's been going on with some of these folks, where you're just like, I can't believe that YouTube hasn't said something. And apparently, according to what they're saying, which, I mean, I don't know, they're saying that their channel got removed from YouTube or Facebook or something. I don't know. It was something like that. I don't know. Maybe that's why I haven't heard too much out of them, because, you know, they got moved to another place where they're not allowed to say the hurtful and spiteful and cruel things that they'd been saying. I don't know. I mean, it could be anything. She said she's on a 14-day suspension. That's weird. A 14-day? That seems odd. This 14-day would mean that's like a second strike. 14-day. Maybe. I think that's right. I don't know how the strike system works. I don't think I've ever gotten in trouble for anything like that. I usually, you know, as bombastic as I sound, I try to still keep it within the realm of you know, somewhat clean. Sometimes those words, you know, they do slip out of my mouth that might be, you know, not FCC appropriate. I mean, I'll give kudos to, you know, people like Jeremy. They're able to keep the language down. I guess, you know, if you don't use it in everyday language, it's a lot easier to do. This is like everyday language for me. They did have a 1-week strike a couple of months ago, and now it's a 2-week. I mean, I don't know. Was it a strike? Was it a suspension? Was it copyright? I don't know. See, it makes no sense to me. I don't care. That's the thing. I mean, unless it was something that YouTube is telling them, you know, you shouldn't have done, then don't do it. It's pretty easy. Big Owls, Friday on Robbie's Swamp Buggy. I don't know. See, I don't know any all this stuff is well beyond me paying attention to. I mean, I have a 9-to-5 job. Well, it ends up being longer than that. Plus, I do, you know, most of the time two streams a night. I mean, I know tomorrow morning, Flea probably just needed a night to deal with the big pill she has to swallow, or their crow is a kicking. It could be that. I know that tomorrow morning I can't be guaranteed, because I thought Mo and I were going to do one on Wednesday night, but she was like, I can't do it tonight. Can we take a rain check? So we took a rain check for Wednesday, but we'll see how she's doing on Friday morning. If she's not doing well, then we'll do it over here on mine tomorrow morning. We'll either be here or we'll be on Mo in the deep ends. One of those two. It's usually fun. A lot of times we get the infamous Volstorm to come in and harass us and make us laugh even harder, which is absolutely wonderful. I love Volstorm. He's good people. And then of course we've got Friday. So usually what I do on Friday is I set up a stream to go from like 8 until the expert goes live, and then I send everyone over to the expert to go hang out and have a good time. And Mo and I usually just, you know, crack jokes and watch like police videos and hope that we get a car chase. Because if we get a car chase, I guarantee you we're watching the damn car chase. We're going to be laughing and mocking the whole time. I must not sleep much. I sleep 4 or 5 hours a night, something like that. Yeah, it's you don't need a whole lot of sleep. And then of course, you know, sometimes like on the weekends, this is why you don't see me too much on the weekends. Shizzy is an alien. Probably that could be true. That why do you think I wear the Star Spangled Helmet? It's to let them know where I'm at, so they can't spout me from space if I'm not wearing the Star Spangled Helmet. Come on, Angie, get with it. Get with the program. This is how it goes. You have to wear that thing. Everybody, I will see you guys on the flip side tomorrow morning. Either it'll be here or Moe's, but until then, stay frosty. We'll see you very soon. Peace, everybody. Thanks for coming by.
Oh, you thought I was done, bless your heart, but I'm still living rent-free, it's a work of art. Call me daddy, call me nut, call me the goat. You're paddling upstream while I'm running this boat. You say, I don't care, yet you're glued to the screen. Caught up in my glow while you stay unseen. Your shade's like a breeze, it's barely a draft. Meanwhile, I'm the Picasso of roasting your ass. You say you're over me, oh how cute, but here I am, still the star of your loop. You're my biggest fans, don't even deny. So grab some popcorn when daddy goes live. Call me daddy, yeah, shout it loud. King of your thoughts, I'm making you proud. Papa Nut, Shizzy Daddy, headline act. Your background noise, and that's just a fact. Let's face the score. You hate that you love me, but you keep wanting more. You're like a dog chasing cars, you don't know why. But here you are, barking while I touch the sky. Your comments are gold, such comedy gold. Who hurt you? Oh wait, it's me, I'm told. You're keeping tabs like an unpaid intern while I'm cashing checks. When will you learn? Your timeline's a shrine to every move I make. I'd say thanks, but you're a nasty skank. Oh, Shizzy's washed up. Yeah, sure, Jan, yet here I am, the centerpiece of your plan. You hate watch my stream like it's Oscar night, but guess what, kiddos? I'm still shining bright. Call me daddy, send in your bread. I'm still rent-free in your effing head. Papa Nut, Shizzy Daddy on your brain. I'm your mental landlord, you can't complain. Let's keep it real. You hate that I'm winning, but you love how it feels. Oh, I'm sorry, did I break your streak? You tried to ignore me for like half a week, but daddy's too spicy, you can't look away. I'm the train wreck you need every single day. So while you're out there with your plastic clout, I'm here sipping coffee watching you freak out. You're irrelevant, wow, what a take. Now go rewatch my vids while I count how much I make. I count how much I make. Call me daddy, yeah, own it now. I'm reading your brain and you don't know how. Papa Nut, Shizzy Daddy, let's set the bar. I'm the constellation, you're a burned out star. Embrace your role, cause I'm the main character. You're just an old ragged ass, burned out troll. So that's your bedtime story, kids tucked in sweet and snug. Shizzy Daddy's forever, you lose and you're stuck in the mud. Now say goodnight to Papa Nut, your mental pain. Oh wait, you will see me tomorrow's. Jundin will see me tomorrow, same obsession, same effing thing.
Oh yeah, go see him.